So, hello po, good morning classmates, good morning docs. So today we are going to discuss about the project management together with Ma'am Sarah Jane Santa Ana. So, have here the course intended learning outcomes. So after we finish discussing this information, we are able to state the importance of project management, have an overview of the information system plan, and explain how to manage the project risk. So first, let's define what is project management. So project management is the application of the processes, methods, skills, knowledge, and experience to achieve the specific project objectives according to the project acceptance criteria within the agreed parameters. So, ibig sabihin po, no, project management focuses on planning and organizing the project and resources. So, as the project manager, you should oversee the entire project management or the entire project rather. And we must know when and how to do the job. But of course, we are not doing the job alone, but we have a team to guide or to help us. So we must know who among the team are capable of doing this task and who are not and when to do that. So like for example po, no, if you are constructing a building and you are the project manager, so you must know who among the team can do the specific activity and can do this another activity for you to meet the entire project requirements. So next, so what is the importance of project management? So the failure rate of the information system initiative is relatively high. Information system projects either take the significantly longer and cost far more to implement than originally planned in almost every firm, or the finished system is ineffective. Companies may not see any return on their information system investment when a system falls short of expectation or is it too expensive to construct. And the system may not be able to address the issue for which it was designed. The creation of new system require carefully planning and management, and the manner of project is carried out is perhaps the most significant and determinants of its outcome. So it is crucial to have some understanding of how to manage information system initiatives and the factors that determine whether they are successful or unsuccessful. So in general po, no, project management is really important not to those teaching project management, but to those that are involved. So meaning to say, most of the companies use the project management to achieve results in a measured, focused, and predictable way. So in other words, it can help the project managers and their teams organize complex plans, minimize potential risks, and produce high quality results within the budget and, of course, on the schedule. So, next is the runway project and safety failure. So, this case talk about how poorly handled the project. So, it state here that the private division projects are underestimated by one half in terms of budget and time required by one half and time required to deliver the complete system promise in the system plan. So a very long number of projects are delivered with missing functionally and technically. So the Standish Group consultancy, which observed the IT project success ratios, found that 32% of all technology investment we completed on time, on budget, and on object, and with all the feature and function originally specified. So between 30 and 40% of all the software project are running away. So ibig sabihin, the project exceed the original schedule and budget projection and failed to perform as originally specified. So ano nga ba yung mga consequences ng poor project management? So the consequences of poor project management is composed of cost excess, the time lapse, technical issue affecting the performance, getting the less than expected benefit. So without the effective management, system development projects take longer to finish and frequently end up costing more than original plan. So this result information system is almost certainly less sophisticated technically and might not be able to offer the organization advantages. So the system created by the unsuccessful information initiatives are frequently not used as the intended or are not used at all. So in order for this system to function, users frequently have to create the parallel manual system. So pag sinabing parallel manual system, it is actually designed may fall short of capturing crucial business needs or enhancing the organizational effectiveness. So the information might not be sent quickly enough to be useful, but it might be presented in a way that makes it difficult to understand and utilize, or it might reflect to incorrect type of data. So non-technical business customers may find that the system interface to be overly difficult and discouraging. So a system user interface could be poorly designed. So user interact with the user interface, which is component of the system, and an online input from or the data entry screen. So for the instance, it can be so awkwardly set up that nobody wants to provide the data or ask the information. So it is possible for the system output to be shown in the an initiative formal. So next slide, the five main factors of the project management. So the first factors of the project management is the scope. So the scope, a project determine what works it is included. So ibig sabihin, for instance, the scope of the project for a new orders processing system might not involve any changes to the corresponding accounts receivable, manufacturing, distribution, or the inventory management system, but rather new module for entering orders and sending them to production and accounting. So the project management should ensure that the scope of the project does not change from what was initially intended and should identify all the work necessary to execute the project successfully. So the second factor of the project management is the time. So time defines the length of the time necessary to finish the project. So this means that the time needed to finish the main parts of the project is often determined by the project management. So each of these elements is further divided into tasks and activities. So the goal of the project management is to estimate the time needed to finish each activity and provide a schedule for doing so. So the third factor is the cost. So the cost is calculated by multiplying the time needed to finish the project by the price of the human resource needed to complete the project. So meaning to say the price of the workspace, software, and hardware are all included in the cost of the information system project. So the project's budget is created by the project management and ongoing project costs are tracked. So the fourth one is the quality. So the quality is a measure of how well a project final product meets the goals set forth by the management. So the effectiveness of the information system initiatives is typically measured by how well they facilitate decision making and organization performance. So additionally, the new system correctness, timeliness, and usability are taken into account when determining the quality. So the last factor of the project management is the risk. So risk describe the potential issue that could um, jeopardize a product success by raising time and expenses, diminishing the quality of project outputs, or preventing the project from being completed entirely. So this possible issue may prohibit a project from reaching its goals. The most significant information system risk consideration are discussed in managing project risk. So next is the selecting project. So usually, business are given a wide range of project to complete in order to solve the issue and boost performance. So system initiative have a significantly more ideas than resources to complete them. So for this discussion, business For this group, businesses must choose the project that offer the best potential for the success. So obviously, choosing a project should be based on the company. So we have here the management structure for the information system projects. So the components of the management structure for the information system project at the sizable corporation are shown in the screen. So it makes sure that the most crucial project get the attention they need. So the first management structure for the information system is the corporate strategic planning. And by the way po pala, no, the management control of the system projects composed of the senior management and the middle management. Then the lastly is the operational management. So the group of the corporate strategy planning and the Information System Steering Committee are the top of the organization. So the corporate strategic planning team is in charge of creating the company strategy plan. So which can necessitate creating the new processes. So this group frequently choose to sponsor the IT project that can significantly improve one or more key performance indicators because they have devised objective measures of the firm, more key performance, more performance referred to as key performance indicator mentioned in another chapter. So the company board of director examine and discuss this performance indicator. The second one is the Committee for the Information System. So it is the senior management team in charge of the system development and maintenance. So it is made up of department heads from the information system and user division. The next one is the project team. So the project team is managed by the project management team, made up of end user management and information system manager who are in charge of managing a number of distinct information system projects. So the individual system project is solely under the direct control of the project team. So it consists of application programmers, system analysts, experts from the relevant end user business domains, and sometimes database specialists. The precise characteristic of the system solution determine the project team size and skill mix. So next slide is linking system project to the business plan. So organization must create information system plan that supports their entire business plan and incorporate strategic system into top level planning. So in order to identify the information system project that will provide the greatest commercial value. So the plans act as a roadmap for the system development, detailing the reasoning, the safe of the system, and the situation at hand. So any new development to be taken into consideration, management strategy, the implementation plan, and the budget. So here is the information system plan. So the first one is the purpose of plan. The second one is strategic business plan rationale. The third one is the current system or the situation. The fourth one is the new development to consider. The next is the management strategy, implementation plan, and the budget. So the strategy outlined the organization objectives and how the information technology will help those objectives be achieved. So the study demonstrates how the particular system initiatives will be used to accomplish the broad objective. So in here, it specifies exact target dates and the milestone that can be used afterwards to gauge the success of the plan in terms of how many goals we really accomplish within the time so range given in the plan. So the plan outlines is the important managerial choices that must be made regarding the purchase of the hardware, communication, the centralization or decentralization of power, data, and hardwares, and any necessary organizational change. So next is the information requirements and the key performance indicator. So the organization must have a thorough grasp of both its short and long-term information needs in order to create the successful information system plan. So a strategic approach to information requirements, strategic analysis, or critical success factor contains that a limited numbers of manager key performance indicators determine the organization informational needs. So meaning to say, the industry, the company, the manager, and the overall environment all influences KPIs. For an automobile manufacturer, KPIs can include the labor expenses, manufacturing productivity, the percentage of the errors, and reworks. So, pulse of the customer brand recognition and the JD Health costs, employees' work satisfaction scores, and power quality rankings. The primary goal of a new information system should be provide data that aids the company in achieving the objectives suggested by the performance indicators. So next slide. So next is the portfolio analysis. So portfolio analysis can be used to assess the different system project after the strategic assessments have established the global direction of the system development. So meaning to say, the organization information system project assets infrastructure, outsourcing agreements, and licenses are all inventoried as a part of the portfolio analysis. So this information system investment portfolio has the characteristic of risks and benefits to the company that are comparable to those of a financial portfolio. So next. So here is the example of the system portfolio. So each information system project has its own unique mix of the advantage and disadvantages. So by balancing the risk and return from the system, investment business would strive to increase the return on their portfolio of IT assets. So there is not a perfect profile of every company. But the information intensive business like the finance should have a few high risk, high reward projects to stay on the cutting edge of the technology. So business in non-information intensive sector should concentrate on the high profit, low risk and initiatives. So naturally, solution with the high benefits and low danger are the most ideal. So these guarantee the low risk and the quick reward. So the second is it is important to investigate the high benefits, high risk system, avoid low benefits and high risk system at all costs. So this means that examine the low benefits using the portfolio analysis. Management may balance the riskier, so higher return project with the safer, lower reward wants to create the ideal combination of the investment risk and rewards for their company. So meaning to say the business that use the portfolio analysis in conjunction with their business strategy have been found to have the greater IT asset return. So the better IT investment alignment with such goals and the better organization-wide coordination of the IT investment. So next slide. So we have here the scoring model. So ano nga ba ang scoring model? So scoring model is helpful for choosing the project when various factors need to be taken into account. So it is the weight the individual components of a system before calculating the size. So in other words, scoring models give the alternative system a single score based on the extent to which they meet selected objectives. So using this table, the firm has decided amongst two alternatives, enterprises resource planning or the ERP. So the first column lists the criteria that decision makers will use to evaluate the system. So these criteria are usually the results of the length discussion among the decision-making group. So often, the most important outcome of the scoring model is not the score, but agreement on the criteria used to judge a system. So based on this table, It shows that this particular company attaches the most important capabilities for sales order processing, inventory management, and warehousing. So the second column in the table lists the weight that the decision makes attached to the decision criteria. So the column 3 and 5 shows the percentage of the requirements for each function that each alternative's ERP system can provide. So meaning to say, each vendor score can be calculated by multiplying the percentage of requirements need for each function by the weight attached to the function. So meaning to say, the ERP system B has the highest score here with a total of 3,300. So next is the establishing the business value of the information system. So a system project must be wise investment for the company even if it advances the strategic objective of the company and satisfy user information needs. So the question of return on investment capital fundamentals strive to value of the system from the financial standpoint. So we have here the information system um, and cost and benefits. So some of the more typical system costs and advantages are listed in the next table. Where wait lang. So it is possible to quantify and value tangible benefits, although they can't be measured right away. So intangible advantages is like improve the decision making or more effective customer services may eventually translate into quantifiable results. So whenever possible, management information system, decision support system, and computer support collaborative work system are outperformed by the transaction and clerical system that eliminates labor and free up space while also producing more quantifiable and noticeable benefits. So we have here the cost and benefits information system. So it composed of tangible benefits and intangible benefits. So pag sinabing tangible benefits, no, it can be quantified and assigned value. The system that displays and save space, transaction, and clerical system. Um, so sa tangible benefits, it increase the productivity, lower the operational costs, and reduce workforce and etc. While sa intangible benefits naman, it cannot be immediately quantified but may lead to quantifiable gains in the long run. So for example, more efficient customer service or enhanced decision makings. The third one is the system that influence decision making is the ESS, DSS, and collaborative work system. So, ang example naman ng intangible benefits is it improve the asset utilization, improve the resource control, improve the organizational planning, and etc. Information system cost. So, ang information system cost composed of the hardware, telecommunication, software, services, and personnel. Next is the capital budgeting for information system. So, capital budgeting models, it is measure value of investing in long-term capital investment project. It rely on the measure of the firm the cash outflows. It is the expenditure for the hardware, software, and the labor. Sa cash inflows naman, it increase the sales and reduce the cost. So there are various capital budgeting model used for the IT project. So the first is the payback method. So when we say payback method, no, it measures the amount of the time required to pay back the initial investment of the project. So it is calculated by dividing the amount of the original investment by the annual net cash inflow generated by the investment. The tapos yung accounting rate of return or the accounting rate of return or the investment calculates the rate of return from the investment by adjusting cash inflows produced by the investment for depreciation. Ang net present value naman is the amount of the money an investment is worth, taking into account its cost, earnings, and the time value of the money, while the internal rate of return is the rate of the return or profit that an investment is expected to return. So the IRR is required to pay. I am sorry, sorry. So the IRR is the discount interest rate that will equate the present value of the project, future cash flows to the initial cost of the project. So that's all. Thank you.